Let's roll.
Something being used in
All
Zoom.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to our class where we are talking about the music industry and music. And our panelists, I'm going to go around the room. Nadine, introduce yourself.
Oh, well, I'm Nadine, Roots and Culture Brown. I am the owner of Roots and Culture TV, which was I think a groundbreaker back in the day. But we're in the present now. So I'm Nadine. I am a fan of the arts, and I'm here. Thanks for having me.
All right, Petra Haven.
Hi,
Pardon?
everyone. So my name is Petra Haven, and I am the managing director for Chameleon Management Group, which is a brand and marketing and management agency stationed here in the Bahamas. So we focus on branding not only for entertainers, but also for small businesses. And I'm also happy to be here. I'm a lover of the arts.
Awesome. Bodine.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bodine Victoria, singer, songwriter, entertainer in general. I have been an owner of my own business, which has been basically myself for maybe about 18, 19 years now. And I'm very happy to have been invited to today's panel.
All right.
Travis, you know what that
Victor.
face is about.
My turn.
Victor.
Hey guys, Victor Johnson here. Full-time musician, as well as I like to label myself as a full-time creative. I'm certified in visual arts, as well as I am the musical director for The Essence Band, Sprinkle, 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 as well as the chief visionary of the Musicians Arts and Vocalist Showcase, also known as MOBS.
Nice.
I'm glad to be here.
All right, awesome. Junior.
Hey, good night, everybody. My name is Junior Scott. I'm a full-time musician, Minister of Music at Golden Gates Follow-Up Reach Event Series. I'm a producer, and I consider it an honor just to be invited to be a part of this panel. Hope to learn a lot more than I know now.
All right, and finally, Mr. Clive Enos.
Finally. Hey guys, Clive Ennis here, CEO and founder of booking agency and management company here in the United States, based in Atlanta, Georgia, C. Anthony Entertainment Agency. Man, happy to join you guys again for an amazing session. Glad to be here.
Awesome. So for those you guys who are tuning in, we want you to share the link on Facebook, invite as many persons as you can, and we're going to get the conversation started. Now, anybody can jump in as I ask the questions, and we have this panel discussion. This is very relaxed, so it's not formal. We could just relax and like Bodine is sipping her little wine, and Nadine is sipping her water. Yeah. So let's talk about the industry in the Bahamas, the music industry. What do you guys, at this moment, what do you guys see right now as the state of the music industry in the Bahamas right now?
Well, I'd like to begin because I'm not actively a musician or anything, so I can speak from an observational point of view. It grows in fits and starts. It comes on and then there's a wave and then the wave recedes and then it comes again, but it's always happening and you have to know where to look. And I feel like what the musicians really want is for there to be a consistent flow and for people to really appreciate, because there are a lot of talented people that live here in the Bahamas, but you also have a lot of talented people who have stopped doing music because they're not getting anywhere, or they move out of town. And so right now you have a new wave and you have people who are providing platforms, So I'd like to shout out people like Artful Bahamas, the Art Joy concert series,
Soundwaves as
Artist
well.
Network. Iron Fire, I think he's the one responsible for the concerts that are happening online now. And a bunch of other people, you know. It's always progressing, but it's also always kind of receding, which doesn't help the entertainers. And that's how I see it so far.
Okay, Petra?
Okay, so I think the music industry, as it stands, COVID has been a blessing for some persons, and it has been, you know, almost like a downfall for others. There have been some creatives that have utilized this downtime or this opportunity to create more music, or to try and diversify their brands, try and diversify who they are as musicians. And then you do have some of the musicians that, you know, they're not able to make a living as entertainers. So they're home, and, you know, they've turned into introverts, or their mental state is just not, you know, where it used to be. And I agree with Nadine. We have to commend those persons that have created those digital platforms, because some artists, they get joy out of just performing. They're not necessarily worried about anything else. They just want to be on that stage. They want to make good music. They want people to enjoy what they do. And in addition to that list, I know I wanted to make sure I also shout out Tim over at Soundwaves.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's consistently been doing something for major and underground artists as well, from all genres. I just hope that once COVID-19, you know, has packed its bags and it's now gone, that a lot of these creatives, when they come out of this shell, there's a lot more music, there's a lot more passion that's put into the artistry, and then a lot of them, you know, diversify themselves, you know, and recognize that it's good to do something outside of just music or just creating.
Okay, anybody else want to chime in? Bodine?
All right, I'll go. As far as the industry here in the Bahamas is concerned, we are becoming a bit more educated, but we're still a bit ignorant about what we are, one, entitled to, two, the work that needs to be done, three, the actual business of being an entertainer or a creative in general. I would say the music industry right now, as Nadine had said earlier, is in a phase of start and stop, and it's kind of at the building of another wave of influence, okay? And that is due to the fact that we now have more young people that are going to study music law, music business in general. You have more veterans that are coming home and making their talents available for persons that want to do commercial licensing and commercial branding. And people are becoming a bit more knowledgeable of what it takes to run a business. And I think that that is important. I think the biggest concern that we had in the past was not realizing that our music is first and foremost a business that is attached to a creative expression. Yes. Because you can do music for the love as much as you want to do it for the love. But the truth of the matter is, as long as you are creating something, you should be able to earn money from that, even though it would be residual in some cases, but you have to be able to earn something back from what it is that you are creating. And so a lot more persons are standing up for what their rights are as artists. Many more of us are challenging the status quo when it comes down to holding clients accountable to contracts, to actually signing contracts for knowing the length and duration that a contract is supposed to last, and which markets that contract is valid for, when you have to go back and renegotiate, knowing when to walk away from the table. Because we do have some of us that love performing. We love performing, but it makes no sense to perform and abuse yourself and your talent if you are not serious about the business, as Peter said, of building your brand, representing that properly, and being able to monetize that so that you are not another broke artist, so that we are not a community of broke artists. And I have
Exactly.
to say to Petra, thanks so much, because Chameleon Management, Petra was responsible for the logo that I'm currently using. And I want y'all to know that it's reflected in my eye makeup today because it's that serious. Do you see my colors? And it's important. Y'all see my tree? That's it's a symbol. It's a symbol. Y'all laughing, right? But it's a symbol of being grounded. It's a symbol of branding, and it's a symbol of marketing. And I am so encouraged by the young people that are taking the time out to pivot during this time and find ways to market and to brand themselves, and know which opportunities you should strike while the iron is hot for, and which opportunities you let somebody else's time astray.
Exactly. And consistency is going to be key, because you can't get discouraged. When you look at artists like Spice, who's just making it after all these years of being on the grind, you know, it's very important that you stick to what you're doing and just learn from it and grow, and just recognize that opportunities are opening up that wasn't open to you like maybe 10 years ago. 12 years ago. You have the internet, and this is why people like Ashensia can be out there right now, because she has something that Spice didn't have back then, and that's the internet. Okay, so
All right, Victor and Junior, can you share your experiences from a musician perspective on the industry, and what you've experienced over the years since you're now in the music industry?
Well, is it okay if I go first, since I'm a lesser musician than yourself, Mr. Junior? Sure. All right, thank you.
Blasphemy, son.
So, myself being in the music industry for about, I'd say 10 years, starting as a musician, in the background, just being in church, and then going into more secular music as I grew up. I've watched the industry in the Bahamas grow in a favorable way. And for me, the music industry, I would always describe it as it being fluid. It's always been fluid for me, in the way that Bodine has described, that certain people, you know, they focus on branding, other people are pretty lax and stuff like that. The industry here for me has been, you can get out of it whatever you want to get out of it. You know, I feel like there's opportunity for those who want opportunity. You know what I mean? And you can make the best out of it if you really want to. So for being a musician, I've experienced many hard times, and I've also experienced many good times. COVID now, I think, has basically leveled the playing field for everyone, artists and musicians, being that opportunities are on a straight line. Everything, there's no clubs to play in, there's no places to sell your CDs, nothing like that. Everyone is on a level playing field, and I think that's actually a good thing. I think it helps those people who have been discouraged, saying that, you know, there's no opportunities, there's a lot of biases. Those biases are kind of on the side right now. You know, everyone is online. So if you want to be creating content, if you want to be creating music, you have the opportunity to do so if you want to. You know, there are also some people that are still crying wolf and saying that it's still hard, you know, even though the opportunities are on a straight line. If you want to hang below the line, if you want to hop on top of the line, it's up to you. Everything is equal. I think that COVID, like Peter said, has been timely, you know, not in a negative way, but it has helped. It has helped to bring us where we need to be.
Yeah.
So, as a musician, I think I've actually enjoyed the music industry because I've had a different mindset from the beginning. So, favorable here for me.
Okay, Junior.
All right. Hey, good night again, everybody. I think for me, because I'm predominantly on the gospel side of things, I've just been here over like 10 years now. So I can't accurately say what the industry and the gospel side was before I came, because I don't know the full history of it. But I think in my most honest assessment as to where we are, I must say I think we are maybe a little bit behind the 8 ball on the gospel side of things. And maybe that's being modest, behind the 8th ball. Of course, I've been privileged to work with a lot of local artists. And I guess even for me as a producer, this is not something I imagined myself doing 10 years ago. But I think for me, it was more of seeing the need. And then for me, it was more of a trial and error, learning as I go. I am still learning the business aspect of it. And I think that's where we in the gospel industry fall down mostly, the business side of things. We are more on the emotional side of things. I just want to sing a song because the Lord dropped the song in my spirit, blah, 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 blah. But when it comes on to the whole branding side, like taking, for example, a Bodine. Bodine looked like the flyer. She's very meticulous. She's very intentional. But I don't think we have gotten to that place, especially in the gospel side, because we're more free-spirited. We shift left this day, shift right the next day. So it's hard to be consistent. And I think that's the key thing to developing anything organically, the systematic approach to it. I see us progressing because I see a lot of new artists coming up. One of the things I try to encourage people to do is be more original. I find that in the gospel side of things, people like to do covers. They'll spend their best energy singing other people's songs, but they never invest in original material, original content. And I'm like, don't waste the best singing year singing somebody's song. You're increasing somebody else's dollar while you hide yours underneath the dirt. And so I think, in larger fact, there needs to be a level of education that's needed for us to move beyond our comfort zone, I think, and to see if we can think beyond the borders of Nassau. Where do you see yourself? Are you satisfied with the little church gigs? And I think COVID has given us a good platform. As Victor said, we now can go online, and we now can you see a lot of concerts happening. So I remain positive. I just need for us to kind of understand the business side of things more, and not think of it as carnal and sinful to ask for money for certain things.
All right, awesome. Now, the government, I heard that a lot associated with arts and entertainment, to the point where you say, the government doesn't do anything for the arts, or I need the government to do something for the arts. How do we get away from that and we unite and create our own, allow the arts to be the arts, and we're able to fund for ourselves, whether it's through us coming together, whether it's through seeking out the opportunities of monetary sponsorship. Can anybody jump on that and tell me how can we move away from being so dependent on the government?
That's Petra, but let me go first.
So listen, this
I just want y'all to know my hand raised.
Topic of discussion. Well, you're right. I can tag you in. I soon finish.
Yeah. I wait. Go ahead.
So this has been a topic of discussion, not just for the arts and entertainment industry, but for everything that happens within the Bahamas. And what we, as a people, have to understand is that we have to get rid of that sense of entitlement that the government is going to do everything for us. So if you don't help yourself, somebody can't help you. So at the end of the day, you can take it from 0 to 50, and then the government can put in that additional 50% but you should be able to do something on your own. You cannot have this dependency upon anybody, because if you don't put in the work, you can't expect somebody to do it for you. Like when there have been so many conversations where people say, well, you know what, I'm waiting on the government to do this for me. At the end of the day, the government has so many aspects of the Bahamas that they have to worry about. Sometimes the last thing that is on the list is facilitating someone else's career, even if it is beneficial for everybody. one thing I always like to tell people is strategic partnerships or unifying helps or causes you to go further than doing it by yourself or depending on somebody else. So a lot of times I tell my clients, I said, what you need to do is be able to build yourself, build your brand, and then go from there. Now, if a corporate sponsor decides they want to hop on board, or if the government decides they want to hop on board and say, okay, you know what, I will assist. But in order for somebody to even notice you, you need to be able to build yourself up first. You need to understand who you are and what you're going to do, and be able to say, you know what, I am Petra Haven and I'm going to be the best dancer in the world. I need to make sure that I facilitate my training and I get the experience and I do all of this. And then maybe if I'm amazing or whatever, or if I'm making these waves, the government will say, you know what, I will assist you with your progress. But most people are not going to assist you to build. You have to be able to lay down your foundation for somebody to come in and say, but the dependency upon the government or anybody else is just not, I mean, it's not, they can't help everybody because there's only a certain amount of money that's available in the pot for culture or for entertainment or arts. So everybody won't be able to capitalize on that. Sorry.
And you know what, Peter, you said a whole lot, and you must know why you was gonna tag me in, right? Because yeah, I see you, girl, I see you. So here's what it is. Going back to you being a business. When you are seriously thinking about yourself as an artist and as a business, you follow patterns. You see what is necessary in the market. You see whether or not what you have is for that particular market that you are trying to target. Peter mentioned strategic partnerships. In 2000 and whenever, I did my first Party in Paradise event. I sent in a proposal to the Bahamas Ministry of Culture, whom I had been a youth ambassador for many years, and the Bahamas Ministry of Youth, whom I had also been a youth ambassador for many years. And I asked them to partner with it. But in those particular avenues, there was only so much that they could do. Okay, no problem. So 2 years later, people started to know a little bit more about me. I had a larger platform due to BTC and my involvement with them. And then I had been doing some things that were culturally relevant. So when I went back in with my business proposal, I was able to have a partnership that allowed for both the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministry of Tourism to partner with me on my, thank you very much, Gary. It was in 2017. This is the first one. But it allowed them the opportunity to see that what I was doing was in line with the campaigns that they were running independently for each one of their ministries. And so I also fit into their bottom line. When you go into ask for sponsorship, you have to be able to align yourself with whatever it is that they want to do, and they have to see that there's a value in being able to partner with you. The second thing is, sometimes we forget that we have to return that value for whatever the sponsorship is. Do you know that as an artist that put on my own event out of my own pocket with the support of my friends like Nadine, who's known me since I was 17, that the only way you are going to get people to buy into what you're doing and to spend their hard-earned money that they can put to other projects, money that they can put to salaries, money that they can put into other folders for things that the ministries need or for the companies need, is for you to be able to provide value. See, a lot of times we think sponsorship is, give me this $3,000 so that I can pay for something else, but you don't want to offer people as much as signage. And then sometimes we do bad business. Peter, touch me, girl, touch me. We do bad business. So we say that we are going to do certain things for our clients, and instead of over-delivering, we don't even deliver. Yeah. I can't even say that we under-deliver. We fail to deliver. I ain't gonna call no names because it ain't necessary. When you walk in, if you want to be treated like the business that you are as a creative, when you want the government to support you, when you want private citizens to support you, you not only appeal to their sense of philanthropy, whatever. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Okay? Says the English teacher. But you not only appeal to that because that will only get you so far. Philanthropy is still based on return. So you not only appeal to that, but you also appeal to the idea that a couple dollars, if it's only $2 they give you, you're going to turn that into $2 worth of exposure, $2 worth of value, $2 worth of conversions. Yeah. We have to take out of our mind that we are owed these things. When you are an artist and you have your business license, which is free, and let's say you are trying to figure things out, go do one little certificate course on how to run your business, follow other people to see where you fit in, and then turn around, because if y'all don't get y'all ketchup pack out of Wendy's, y'all want to put people on blast, but then y'all want to take people $1,000, y'all don't want to have signage up on your page or up on the stage. Write your contract and over deliver, because you don't want anybody to say that you under delivered, that you did not deliver. And it'll make it easier for yourself or for anybody else that comes after you to do that. But it ain't the government's job to support you. The same way it ain't their job to pick and to fix certain things that are broken. It is your job to create value, your job to emanate value, and your job to know which market you're going to be able to get what you need to continue to propel yourself forward.
Yeah, I think equally beneficial. Sorry, I think equally beneficial is a term that most people don't understand.
Yeah,
or they don't get.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
Nadine.
It's an investment, you know. And so when people give you their money, they're not really giving you their money. They expect something from you, whether it's attention to their product or even money back, right? I spoke to somebody from Digicel in Jamaica, Elon Parkinson. I think he's like a regional manager or something in terms of marketing and branding. And he said the same thing. When they look for brand ambassadors, what they're looking for is someone that brings value. Like you said, someone with a personality. So you can't just be some person who just started doing music and think that people owe you something. They want something from you. And so you have to look at yourself as a package. Once you decide that you're an entertainer and you want to work for money, you have to view yourself as a package. So it's your image that you're presenting. You can't be online in Facebook beefs and Instagram bad beefs. You can't be doing, if you're intending to get somebody to sponsor you, you have to be in line with their brand. I spoke to somebody at Scotiabank here, and they were saying the very same thing. If they don't see the value in you, they're not gonna. They've been looking around. They want somebody who has a presence online, because, you know, digital is where it's at. They want somebody who people follow, who people listen to, who's gonna represent that kind of family brand. So you have to research these people and view them as investors, right? Nobody's giving you a free meal. At the same time, I believe that culture is an important part of any country. And the government, while they don't owe you something, it's up to them to invest in the arts, the people, because the arts is very important. I mean, we are here talking on this platform that somebody in the arts built. You know, the microphones, the music that we enjoy, everything that we do while we're sitting here in this COVID quarantine. So they have to invest in you still. But at the same time, build a platform that they will definitely want to put back into, you know? That's it.
Yeah. Clive, can you speak and touch on the importance of artists in making the investment in themselves? Because you manage a lot of diverse entertainers, and you are in the entertainment industry. Can you speak a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, I echo what the lady's been saying, man. It's so important that artists, first off, see themselves as a product and value their product to begin with before you can even sell it to anyone else. I've traveled the world and I've done workshops in different countries and different cities. And one of the main things that I always bring, it turns out to be a long discussion, is a simple word, but it's so many people can't get past this word: motivation.
Ha!
Right.
Say it again.
Motivation.
Yeah.
We're on this panel tonight, and it's a lot of artists that are not in the position like Petra and so many others, and they're trying to figure out, okay, we hear you guys, but how do we get there? You know, what do we need to do? And a lot of them feel that it's, you know, so many words that's going to get them to that place. But a lot of them cannot pass being motivated, right? See, the key thing with motivation is that you can't worry about what you cannot see. You can't dwell on what you cannot see. This business is you signing over your life, basically. If you're not plan to be in this thing for a long haul, you might as well just jump out of it, because it's going to require sacrifice. It's going to require your time. It's going to require your investment. Most importantly, it's going to require you investing in yourself.
Yeah.
And we can't sit here and we're always going to feel like, you know, we will get the answers if somebody else is a part of our journey. But you should be able to have the answers without anybody else getting involved. Another person coming involved is an additional benefit to you.
Right.
They're not obligated. This is not their vision. This vision belongs to you, not someone else. And if you don't believe in it for yourself, if you're not motivated within yourself for your vision, no one else is going to understand where you're trying to go with it. So, you know, I tag on to that. The ladies, something is ringing here. The ladies, you know, made a valid point, but young artists, up and coming artists must understand, man, you got to be motivated in this thing. No, do not be afraid of what you see. Do not be afraid of the process that's in front of you. You know, not everybody's journey is the same. Some going to have it harder than some. That's just the way of life. You understand what I'm saying? But you cannot give, if you believe, and I shared this on the last call, if you believe that you are called, I'm prominently in the gospel side of things. So, you know, it's another phrase I use is called mixed emotions. It's so many people that want to get into this business but having mixed emotions. Because I can't see the fact that I'm going to make money right now, will it work?
Say it again.
Let me tell you, if this is what if you believe, if you don't see the fact that you can make money in this thing, you ask yourself, will it work? Immediately before your career even begins, you already start having mixed emotions.
Exactly.
So it puts you in a position where, just like going on an interview, right? If you can't believe what's on your resume, the person you're going to do the interview with is not going to believe what's on your resume. You have to have confidence right out the gate that, you know what, no matter what is in front of me, man, I need this and I'm going to do whatever it takes for me to get it. You understand what I'm saying? Without worrying about the money, without worrying about who can I call, without worrying about who can sponsor me, which government official can be on board with my vision. You have to immediately, automatically out the gate, believe, man, that, you know, within myself, I believe that this is going to work, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure it does work.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I say that to say, with our up-and-coming artists that's listening, just be motivated. Believe me, be motivated. That will take you over every mountain, because over every mountain is something different. But you got to get over the mountain first. And nobody's not going to push you up that mountain. You're going to have to walk up that mountain yourself. And that's the hardest thing for every artist, because they can't see what's over that mountain. They turn around when they come to the bottom of the mountain. They turn around and walk the opposite direction. Go ahead.
Awesome.
Can we have an altar call right now?
But you know, it's so real. So many of us, you know, in this industry, we get, you know, I've been in this thing for a while, and you know, I shared this before. So many people in this industry get so technical and business minded that they forget that it's a self-evaluating process.
It is.
Yes.
You understand, from artists to campaign people, to marketing individuals, to musicians, to engineers. It's every process of it requires self-evaluation. Where are you? Where are you going? And how beneficial can you be to the art? What you're bringing to the table. Because once you become a part of the fraternity, man, it's time for you to get to work. The work ain't going to come to you. It's a constant working process. It's like the Bible talks about that we're all one body, all of the parts of the body joined together. You understand what I'm saying? Once you become a part of the fraternity, and see, a lot of artists don't want to hear this way because it's not already speaking money to them. But I say to you that's listening, the money is the least of your worries if you do it right. If you're motivated to do it, if you stay consistent doing it, the money will find you. Money is a piece of paper used for your daily lifestyle. You understand what I'm saying? God will give you favor. Favor doesn't always turn out to be physical dollars. It could be the Nadine of today that's going to walk up to you and bless you with opportunities.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it'll turn out to be financial money in your hand.
Exactly.
You know, so you have to be motivated in this thing. Stay encouraged. Do not lose hope. You know, we try to depend on so many other people to fight our battles, man. But in this business, you have to be ready to fight your own battles first.
And that's important. But I feel like you also need to build a team. A team can get you where you're going faster than by yourself. And building a team doesn't mean you're going to have to spend a bunch of money, right? It could mean that you go to the colleges and find people who are doing the stuff in the areas that you want, like a good videographer or somebody to write a press release or stuff like that. But you need to build a team, because a team, they focus on the things that you can't do readily by yourself, you know? So that should help. Like, you definitely need a manager, I feel. I don't know if everybody's gonna agree, and you're gonna talk about how cost effective is that. But a manager is somebody who can go out there and speak for you and say the things that you don't understand. I have a rich friend who told me that, you know, he has a lot of businesses. I'm like, how do you know so much? Well, I don't have to know anything. I just get people to do the work
people
for
who
me.
can do it.
Right. And so that's the attitude you have to have. And like I said, it doesn't have to cost a lot. Just be smart about it. You need a publicist, because a lot of people don't know how to speak. And if you are building yourself as a package, you're going to need to speak to people. You're going to need to speak to corporate executives. You need to learn negotiating skills. These are things that your manager, your publicist can do for you. You know, put out your information. So you need to build a team, even as small as somebody to do ads for you. I see Bodine has the most wonderful ads. And Tonash, you know, download software and market yourself. So don't just sit there. There's so many things you can do. Look up self-help videos on YouTube. Motivate yourself when you feel like you're failing. Go to open mics. That's how you build up your followers. I think about people like Judah and Willis and the Illist and others. That's how they grew their base. You go and you go to things and you perform. You do stuff for free. I know that it's a wave around here to say, oh, I want to get paid, but that's fine and good. Once you've built up that audience and that value again, you're going to get paid. But you have to be able to build yourself into something first, you know? And a team, I think, is necessary. It's okay, you can do it on your own, but a team is also necessary if you want to be serious.
I think that's the most demotivating thing for most artists, having the perspective that there are so many things to get done, and then they're the one person that has to do it all. So I definitely agree with you.
Exactly.
Saying that we need a team.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say there's a few things in reference to creating a team, right? So most artists like to focus on creating, like that's their lane. That's what they want to do. And I can tell you, I commend Bodine for not only being a creative, but also understanding the business of things and being able to handle herself in that field. But not every artist has that gift. Most of them want to focus on creating. But then another issue is some persons might have had teams before and there were issues with the team where, you know, people either stole money from them or they didn't understand. So there's now a control factor, a control and a trust factor. But creating a team can get you from say 50 to 100 or 100 to 200.
Right.
Because I can tell you, when I started managing Julian, I started managing him maybe about 5 years ago. And he was always a really good artist. He had opportunities, but then when I took him on as a client, I said, okay, you know what? We need to create you into a business. We need to be able to build your brand. We need people to understand who you are. We need to make sure that when we deal with international clients, we have everything that's covered on an international basis or international standard is done. So you have your logo, you have your promotional video, you have your EPK, you have your professional photos, you have all of these things. And I also commend Bodine in always staying in character. No matter where you see her, no matter what she does, she's always in character. And consistency is key when it comes to ensuring that you succeed in this business. Because, sorry, go ahead. Oh no. So yeah, like I agree that motivation definitely is key, because your mind can play tricks on you, and if you're not motivated, you won't make it to the next step. But once you're motivated and you understand that this is a marathon, not a sprint, then you recognize that, okay, having a plan or goals, or both of them, is what is going to assist any person in any industry to getting to the next level or getting to the next step, particularly in the music industry, because we're always on a roller coaster ride. I think we would have said that earlier. So having a plan, having goals keeps you on track regardless of what's happening in the industry, whether it's up or down.
Exactly.
Odin, you wanted to say something?
Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to recognize Lee Callender, who's a vocal coach. He is sitting in on the session. And
also my coach.
Yes, he's fantastic, right? I was with him for maybe like 4 weeks.
Wow.
Okay, but also want to say hello to Wendy. Wendy is also listening, and Kenny Maria. Now, it's two things I need to put my finger on right now. Nadine with the building a team, and Petra, I can come back to one or 2 points that you mentioned a little bit earlier,
yes, ma'am.
Then we're gonna go back to motivation. Okay, building a team. Number one, we have to remember that everything is an exchange of energy. Everything is an exchange of energy. Nadine spoke about going and finding college students. However, do you know that there are people that you went to school with, people that you network with, people that you'll drink with, people that you socialize with, that would quite possibly make good members of your team?
Yeah.
And when I say that, I say that sometimes we overlook people that can do the smallest thing. But we have to remember that the small things removed from our list of bigger things means that there's one less thing for us to accomplish during the day. When before Timmy actually really blew up, Timmy and I went from one island to another, and we had a partnership where he would take my videos and he would take my photos and he would tell me when to post, and he would use my name as an established artist on his resume to say that he's a social media manager. See, we have to remember that when we get in certain positions, being able to say that you either work with, or network with somebody is something that can build your resume. And Timmy not only did that with me, Timmy did that with a number of different artists. So kudos to Timmy. And when Timmy could not take me on any longer, Timmy introduced me to Sherrod Campbell. You understand? And Sherrod Campbell is a beast as well. And that's when I met Miguel and a few other people. See, we have to remember that these networks, these referrals are important, but guess what? You have to live up to your word.
Exactly.
You still have to have your contract. If you agree that you're going to pay somebody that's working along with you, you make sure that even if you as the artist does not eat, you pay the person that you agreed that you were going to pay.
Integrity.
That's important. It is. Let me tell you something. Clive said integrity. Sorry, Clive said that some things in money kind of related. Your integrity opens more doors for you than those physical dollars, and your contract will open for you. A word gets you through the door, because I don't care what nobody says. Sometimes it's who you know is a bad thing, but most times it's the best thing that could ever happen to you, because your word is your bond and your name is all you have.
Okay.
Okay? So I can start with that. So go and you have to look for people that are specifically gifted, but you can't just pick up any and everybody. Because see, that's the next thing. Sometimes we forget. It ain't about picking up every and anybody, because some people don't suit your brand.
They really don't.
Y'all ever gone to a photographer for branding photos after you send them a whole mood board and they do what they want to do with your pictures? So even though you dress up like how it is in the mood board, the direction that they take you in the direction that you want your brand to be seen in. See, you gotta know. You gotta do your research. Gotta do your research. Let me tell y'all something. Every person that comes to you with a talent, they may be directed to you, but they may not be for you.
For you.
They may be for somebody in your network.
Exactly.
Keep those people so that you can refer them. Keep those names so that you can refer them to other people. Petra. Let me talk about this branding thing. Branding is studying. Branding is studying. Branding is looking at the market. Branding is knowing which colors evoke which particular emotions in people.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Branding is knowing who you want to touch. See, Bodine ain't gonna be on everybody's stage. You know why? Because everybody's stage ain't for Bodine.
Exactly.
Bodine ain't going to perform for any and everybody for free. If I perform for free, it's because I want to perform for free. And if I perform for free, let me just remind you, some things worth more than money. So that free ain't really a free. How many people does this particular client have access to? Which markets?
How many people are going to be at the show?
How many people are going to be there? Mm-hmm. Which market am I not able to reach that this particular opportunity opens the door for me? And guess what? Here's something that I had to learn the hard way. Even when you perform in free, you make sure you give those people a contract.
Yes.
Because I remember a couple times, the most important thing to me was getting the video footage from a free performance.
Content is key.
The content was worth more to me than me taking an hour to put on my makeup, paying my stylist to get dressed, for me to drive out there to wait in undignified conditions just to be on that stage. And if you don't mind them, if you don't mind them, you'll never get your content.
Exactly.
So now, I, as free as your event may be, if I can't bring my own personal videographer and photographer behind me, I ain't doing it. Sorry. I can't. I need my team. You know why? Because my performance may be for free. However, the value of that content is worth more to me than the cost of being there. So you have to know what to put in your ticket price. I mean, you have to know what to put in your contract. You have to know which opportunities to pass up and which opportunities
and which ones to grab. Accurate.
Yes. Yes. Right. And as far as motivation is concerned, you ain't gonna be motivated all the time. I am never motivated. I can say that. Like after let me put this in the context.
Let's clarify.
I teach for a living. By the time I get off at 3 o'clock, my brain is filled with other people's words and voices. I teach English, language, and literature. As a creative and as somebody that writes, by the time I get home, the only thing I want to do is something that is visual. Mm-hmm. You know why? Because I need to get away from all of the different words that are floating around. But I ain't gonna always be motivated. I had to learn how to be disciplined. Despite the fact that there was a year where it seemed like I was blackballed. I had to stay disciplined. And then I had to know who I was, because if you don't do that, you will find yourself sitting in a mire of despair thinking that you are not valuable. Darling, sir, be disciplined. Amen. And when you are disciplined, when you go back and you look at what you've been able to create, when that motivation strikes, guess what? You will have something to work with from there. Come on now. You got to be disciplined. You have to be disciplined because you ain't going to always be motivated. And the last thing that I want to say in relation to this, in relation to being a creative, I mean, shoots. I wish I could have some more people to partner with. Right now, I'm going to take in pictures inside the bush and doing color scenes on my
I saw
page.
those. I saw those. I love the
Y'all can
post.
see bush.
Loved it.
Y'all can see bush. Y'all can see fruits. Y'all can see flowers. Y'all can see the Bahamian experience. I'm intentional with those, by the way. And I'll explain it. Sorry?
Eating dilly.
Eating dilly. And 2 weeks ago, it was mango.
With the press-on nails. I saw that.
Thank you. And with my jewelry. See, there's a reason why I do things that particular way. It's because in this day and age, you can't do just one thing. Yeah, you want to be a musician, but even the best musicians in the world, the best creatives in the world, have partnerships with other brands that need their help. I don't want to buy accessories. I don't want to buy them. So I need to find creatives who need me to post up my type of accessories so I could take pretty pictures in the accessories and post it up and they could get money from them.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, please send us some questions below. Now, and I'm going to speak on this, and this may rub some of our gospel artists the wrong way, and some other artists on the wrong way. So, I usually sing background for a lot of people, and there are a lot of artists that are on stages performing, they're singing, they're recording in the studio, the music is out, the album cover is out, but they're not protected. Their music is not copywritten, the lyrics are not copywritten.
Child.
And this has become a normal thing where they're setting themselves up for persons to just take their material and use it for their own benefit and do it the right way. And then when they found the other person took their stuff, their material, and choose to do it the right way, now they will get mad and they furious and they vent it on Facebook and they vent it on social media. And can someone please explain, please let everybody know that it is important before you even hit the studio, the lyrics that you have for your songs, those same lyrics that you singing in the studio and spitting those rhymes, they need to be copywritten, they need to be protected. You need to get your money from your royalties. You can't just have your music being played on the radio station on air.
Yeah. Okay, so let me jump on this real quick. So there's a few steps before that. Because first you need to be registered as an artist.
That's number one.
You know, that's number one.
That's number one.
You need to be registered as an artist. So I'll say it again. You need to be registered as an artist. So that's the first step. Then we need to communicate. When you are in the studio, or sorry, prior to hitting play or putting that pen to that paper, all that stuff, you have to sit down and you have to understand the conversation or communicate with your producer, with your writers, or with whoever is in that studio prior to any work being done. How is this going to work? How is this going to happen? What are the splits between this one, that one, this one? Then you go ahead, you get started. And then once that happens, you can encode your song, you can register your song, and everybody is covered. So when that is played on the radio, you get your little check, and little is an operative word. You get your little check in the mail every quarter, or depending on which service you're with, you get it every quarter, and that's your royalties. But once you register as an artist, and once you register your song, or once you register any creative material, you are protected. So if anyone tries to, in Bahamian colloquialism, if anyone try to teeth your things or put roach on your bread, you're good. You can take them to court and you can sue them. You can sue them. But if you create a song, or there's some sort of creative work and it's not registered, and if Beyonce finds you on YouTube and she sees that and she takes it, she is now going to take that song. It's not registered, so now it becomes hers. It becomes hers. She makes millions and billions and gazillions of dollars, and there's nothing that you can do about it because you haven't protected yourself.
Peter, some persons are asking below, how can they become registered, and which, like BMI, PRS, ASCAP, Can you talk a little bit about that too?
Sure. So there's ASCAP and there's BMI and I think there's PRS. I think, yeah, some artists, I think Bahamians, and I could be wrong on this, someone might have to correct me. I don't think Bahamians are able to register for BMI unless they have, I think they're attached to a US company or something. I could be wrong with that, but I know for sure
I think that's
Bahamians are
correct.
registered. Okay,
No,
yeah.
you know what? You know what?
Or is
No,
it the other way around?
No, I'm
Someone is saying BMI is free?
Yeah, I registered with BMI.
Mhm.
Okay,
I
so
think-
yeah, so it's
No,
go
but
ahead.
Petra, I think Bahamians can register with BMI as well. I know one or two that are with BMI. I think maybe you're referring to something that was a bit older, because I know some
Probably.
of them, yeah, some of them have changed their operating ones, but the most
Yeah.
common one for Bahamians happens to be PRS. I've been with PRS since 2004, 2005, and I pretty much like how it is.
What I'm gonna do is I'm going to put, I'm not sure who asked the question, but I'm going to put the link for ASCAP and BMI in the chat so that so at least you can have access to the information or direct access to it instead of having to look for it.
Okay, so we have a question here. It's coming in. What's needed to create the demand for Bahamian artists on the world stage? Clive, maybe you can answer that.
Some good songs. Quality songs.
Say it again.
Listen, this is a no-brainer, guys. Yeah, and they're not just Bahamian artists, but artists across the Caribbean. With me working with so many other Caribbean artists, it's important that we think quality, you know, because there's already a stigma. As Caribbean people, we tend to think that, oh, we're not in a position like somebody else in another country, or we don't have the capability like someone else in another country. We come up with all these excuses why we can't do things in excellence, okay? I don't agree with that, and I feel I'm telling all artists right now that's listening that you should always remember that you're a person just like another person in another country, and you have all the abilities, right? And you can get all, everything can be available to you to do things with quality, right? So just don't do things just because, oh, well, I'm in Jamaica or I'm in Bahamas, and this is all the resources I have. I'm just gonna do it this way, and they should just accept it. No, you cannot think that way, right? Quality, production, Juna can touch on that as well. Write good songs, write international listening songs. You gotta think big picture here. You cannot think, oh, I just wanna be the #1 artist in Bahamas, okay? That's only gonna last for a short period of time, I promise you. You gotta think bigger than that, because your music is worldwide, right? And especially now with social media and all that, you can be a Bahamian artist and you can write a song that can be heard in Africa, the UK, you name it.
China.
People can hear your song all over the world. So it's your thought process. You gotta think quality, you gotta write great songs, think international minded. Listen to other songs. Don't be afraid to listen to other artists out here. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's not a matter of, oh, that's the goal I'm trying to reach. It's you familiarizing yourself with what's selling. Okay?
Exactly.
You can't force somebody to ride your wave. You got to pay attention to where this thing is going out here already.
Exactly.
That's, other artists already established doing what they're doing. Pay attention. Don't feel like, okay, you know what, they're going to do their thing, I'm going to do my thing. Yeah, that's understandable, but you can't create your own little lane by yourself and expect everybody to jump on your bandwagon. That's not how this thing works.
Exactly.
Right? Pay attention to what's out here. Educate yourself to the sound, to the way how certain music is recorded, to the production that comes with a video, to the look of how things are done. You got to educate yourself. You understand what I'm saying? And I promise you, I'm sitting here, I promise you, you do that, anybody can hear your music and love it. And your song could end up on anybody's top 10 list in any country. I have artists right now that I work with that, they sometimes, some of them have felt that way. you know, and they change, they pay attention to see what country, you know, what's going on in Bahamas, what's going on in Trinidad, what's going on in Antigua, what's going on in Jamaica. And they start rearranging how they put their music together to kind of adapt into that region. And it works perfectly. You understand what I'm saying? So.
I when you finished, I can touch that too. I just want to touch it.
Go ahead and touch it. Go ahead and touch it.
Let me touch it.
Touch it. Touch it.
Let me tell you something.
Touch
the
it.
one thing our Bahamian artists hate is when Bahamian artists incorporate other sounds into our sounds in an effort to get onto an international stage. Oh, Jesus. But it stems from there being a slight confusion over the understanding of what Bahamian culture within itself and in its fashion or in a particular time frame is. We think of culture as something that is static. We think it doesn't move, it doesn't change, it doesn't evolve. Culture is dynamic. We hear it in the way that ring plays are performed. And I don't know what some of these children is be singing nowadays, because I learn it one way, they learn it a different way, but it is dynamic. I say that to say, when we say to another artist that we're doing it this particular way because this is the vehicle through which we're going to get onto this international stage, some people have a problem, but everybody can go to events at the Smithsonian. No, I ain't saying that to be shady. It ain't funny. There are some artists, and I would dare to say some artists that are folk artists whose aim is to be seen as a Bahamian folk artist. So their niche and their audience in the carnival circuit, it ain't the rock circuit, it ain't the little band circuit, it is the festival circuit. It is the country festival circuit. And so what they put out is not going to be for that, but that's a tiny niche. That's a tiny niche. That is for the person that attends art shows, art functions. That is for the person that backpacks through the Alps, who is interested in the indigenous music in its purest form of a country.
Exactly.
I touching it. I still touching it. That's one finger. Let me give the next finger. Okay? So, with the next finger, I just say, when we look at people like Tony McKay, who did rock, esoteric rock, and he is one of our folk heroes. He's one of the people that we celebrate. We have to remember that his music is in places as far as Germany and Japan because it wasn't necessarily what culturally we understood to be Bahamian music at the time. It was completely different. But we still understand that he is a Bahamian. So in developing your music, in developing your sound, in developing your art, you have to remember which market you're trying to hit. What is the purpose of the music that you are creating? Where is it that you intended to go? You have to have objectives for what you create. And even with the development of those objectives and being able to see where you hit along that bar post, you are going to design your brand, you're going to design your image, you're going to design your sound, you're going to design the presentation of everything around what your intentions are. So let's not say that we don't have good music in the Bahamas. If the rake and scrape artist here in the Bahamas wants to do rake and scrape for only Bahamians and for only the people that can understand rake and scrape, leave them. You know why? Because maybe their time to be on the big stage is different from your timeline. We have Bahamian artists that do popular soca music. So they jumped on the soca train and then they infused Bahamian sounds inside there. as a way, as a vehicle of getting onto the world stage. And let me tell you something, their music is playing along with the Mashells, along with the Kezes. I opened for Patrice Roberts, me before Patrice Roberts. You understand? So let's not think we don't have the quality. Let's think about the purpose and the objective for the music. We don't make projects and products without an objective, without a market. And again, like Petra said, like Clive said, like Dean said, like Victor says, like everybody on this panel has either said or alluded to, you have to know what the purpose of your art is. Create a plan and then execute that.
Awesome. Oh, Peach, you have something to say?
No, I was clipping for Bodine's, speech.
Okay, let me talk to the musicians right now. You guys deal with a lot of artists, and for Victor, sometimes you book gigs. Can you share some of the discrepancies you have had with one dealing with clients in terms of payment, and then also can both of you touch on the importance of practicing and enhancing your craft and perfecting your craft as a musician? Victor, Junior?
Payment is getting me mad.
Hey.
Me too, boy.
We try to let that body speech settle in our spirit.
Really?
Just to go back to what Clive said about quality. In my experience so far, as I said, I guess if we can separate this as a secular or gospel, or maybe not, but because I primarily do gospel, one of the hardest thing to do is to critique a songwriter who has heard from the Lord in the 2 a.m. of the morning and brings it to a producer. That's the hardest.
Wow!
The hardest.
Say it louder.
Hardest. That's the hardest thing you can do, and you feel bad for saying to them, okay,
you are so right, Junior.
Okay,
we rubbing your back, man.
I try to burp.
So speak it.
But that's the reality of where we are. Because everybody's so emotional about it, and because we're so deeply spiritual about it, when I have to try and find creative ways to say, okay, I'm trying to figure out where the verse is, where the chorus is, because I have to have a sense of direction as to where the song is going, where does it want to go. I use certain analogies to say, okay, all right, the song you got is that you getting pregnant. I wasn't there, but you bring it to the doctor. I'm the doctor. Now, because I have certain devices, I can tell you, this is how the child should look. You have to trust the producer to kind of help develop this, blah, blah, blah. And I think because what you find is so many persons, and we talked about this earlier about having a team, because so many persons having to wear the same hat, you find as if it's a little bit hard for them to say they're going to trust you to kind of produce the material. So some certain clients you may feel, you may encounter, they'll say, I want it exactly like this, I want it exactly like this. And I'm like, it's hard for, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm like, okay, I went to school for music, so I kind of have a better understanding of bars, beats, notes. Okay, how can I? So it's a little bit rough. It's a little bit, it's a little bit sticky. But the good experiences I've had so far, I think I've had to establish relationships first to let them say, okay, this is the work I've done before. So when I'm giving you advice, this is what I am giving you advice on because I've done this body of work so far. So I've had to prove to them like, okay, you can trust me, it's okay. I may hear something a little different. So that has been my experiences so far. After you establish relationship, trust, and stuff like that, it kind of little bit smooth sailing. But I think the basic thing that's lacking, especially in the gospel industry, is just the basic knowledge of how things work. you have a lot of good songwriters that are not good singers. You have a lot of good singers that are not good songwriters. And I think where we need to work together is where we understand, okay, as a singer, it's okay for me to partner with a songwriter and y'all work out the splits, blah, 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 blah. But for where I want to go, the song may not be the best representation of what I want to bring. And then you'll find situation where they want you to produce song on the caliber of a Tasha Cobbs, but the budget is on the caliber of, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit different, because the thing is now, you're trying to tell them, you're trying to match the standard. This is an international standard, and this is where you want to go. In order for you to get there, these are the steps you need to take to get there. So I've had to deal with that. But you know, thanks be to God, I've had good clients. For those who are watching, who ain't gonna hate me after this, I've had good clients. But it's been a stretching and it's been a learning process, even for me as a producer, because it has also grown me. You mentioned something about practicing, Travis.
Yes. Talk a little bit about the importance of perfecting your craft as a musician and practicing.
One of the things that kind of helped me during my musical journey is not because I'm a Christian, I just listen to gospel music. I listen to a wide range of music, and I fuse a lot of stuff. I practice a lot more in my early years than I do now. I don't have the time to practice as much as I do, but I try to be as current as possible. Whatever the new records is, I try to listen to it, because a lot of clients will come to you and they hear certain things and they want certain things sound similar or whatever. So I've had to, you know, make sure I'm on my A game at all times. When you have people like Victor pushing out crazy stuff, you get sleepless nights. You have to say, wifey, go bed. I gotta go practice.
I can't leave it.
But it is important to listen to all genre and don't get stuck in like Odin says. Sometimes the music you need to go to the next level may be something you need to fuse with what you already have. You can't be insecure to think that because you're a Bahamian and you try something else, you're gonna lose your citizenship. That's nonsense.
Say it
That's
again.
nonsense.
Yeah,
That's
and that
nonsense.
fusion might actually create something new, because think about reggaeton. Think about all the different forms. So don't stay away from the music. Fuse it.
No.
Make something. It's still yours, you know?
No. And I think we have to thank people like, even in Jamaica, we have to thank people like Shaggy, Sean Paul. They kind of had a different, their music wasn't as harsh as the Bounty and the Beanies and the others at the time, but it was palatable for the Americans until we were able to get in there and they can digest the harsh yard reggae music, dancehall music. They love
Trust
it.
me, it's been out there from the 50s. It's not just Sean Paul.
Okay,
and what's his face?
And that's the same thing Bodine was mentioning too.
Yeah.
About our people on the soca circuit doing the same thing with our break and scrape and stuff like that.
Yeah. I have to shout out Julian, because Julian has been doing a lot of fusion stuff. I think Sammy Star as well. Bodine.
Yeah, a lot of artists.
We do.
And the thing is, when it's time for you to go back home and do it like only you can do it at home, you do it well, because that's in you. That you ain't gonna lose that. Clive speak with that American twang, but when he needs to chat patois, he can go back anytime you're ready.
We are.
That's it.
Don't get it twisted.
Don't get it twisted.
No.
I want to answer a question. Oh, sorry, Junior.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm done.
I wanted to answer a question from Darian Francis in the chat. Darian, if you are registered with a Performing Rights Society, PRS, ASCAP, BMI, and you have a distributor, you use TuneCore, CD Baby, DistroKid, and if anybody has any other distributors that they use, you shouldn't be afraid, because you can actually automate when you release the single, which music stores it goes into. And now the distributors, they collect royalties. Yeah, they collect royalties for you and on your behalf. So Megan Thee Stallion, for example, she earns her royalties every time somebody on TikTok does the Savage Challenge using her music. As a matter of fact, once you have it registered, you know, because some people tend to want to use my music. I'll get to this next question, Darian, that you're asking. Sometimes people want to use my music inside their videos, and I say, well, I appreciate that, but let me just let you know, if you use it on YouTube, for example, my distributor is going to flag that. So if you're trying to make money off of your YouTube video, but it has a clip of my music, they're going to tell you that you're probably not going to be able to earn the revenue from that, because they have to pay me as the artist, as per my contract with my distributor. You know, so you have to, you can be very, very confident in the fact that if you register your music with PRS and then you go and you use DistroKid, for example, to distribute your music, and you automate it so that all of your stores or your music is featured in those stores, you are going to collect and you're still going to be covered. Once you have it registered with your Performing Rights Society, you're fine. Like literally, you are fine, because that, even their policy documents, if you look, they are updated almost. I mean, Petra, I don't know about you, but every week I have an email from PRS with some other update about a contract with some international body that they are negotiating with on behalf of creators, like every week. And I'm reading them every week. Okay? And Darian, I can't remember who the PRS representative is here in the Bahamas, but I can tell you YouTube and Google, they are absolutely fantastic resources. So if there are specific questions, no, I mean, you know how much hours of YouTube I watch? I watch many hours of YouTube when I need to find something out. Again, it goes down to doing your research. So you don't have to be afraid if you go through the proper channels to register your music and for people to see how your music can be distributed. And then also just keep in mind when you release it, and I guess I'm going to segue into something else because I don't know if I'm preempting myself, but we have an issue with marketing our music. We want to create a song and we want to release the song, but we don't want to market the song.
Oh, wow.
Do we know how to market the song?
That's a serious thing, because a lot of artists don't know how to market their music, let alone some and guess what, even the basics of when they'll just go in the studio, send the audio, the MP3 audio to the radio station, and then that's it. And then they magically expect you to call them to put them on their latest event. I don't know how they think.
Tag me in, Bodine. When you finish, tag me in.
I got you. Petra, I got you. So I work in radio. I worked in radio for almost 20 years at this point. Tell me why. Why is it that artists think that it's okay to send me music through WhatsApp? Not only do they send me the music through WhatsApp, you know.
Without
the music is not encoded.
Email.
It ain't encoded. It's not encoded. You know what? So when I open this WhatsApp and it coming up inside my audio, it's interfering with my audio playlist when I want to go to the gym, right? It's say WA1029 04 dash.
That's the license plate number. Really?
Why?
Please remove your call.
Hold on. No, I could do it better. Hold on. He tried coming for you, gal. Reach your hand out. Touch the hem. Let me tell you something.
Oh, boy.
Then, they send you the music. They attach it to an email. Why I don't have a 150 word, only 150 words is one paragraph. Why I don't have a 150 word minimum write-up of who this artist is, who produced the song, which particular Performing Rights Society the song is registered with, especially if you've never sent me a song before. How come I don't know what your social media is? I don't know which name to put. What y'all doing?
You're supposed to
and
figure
we
that
even
part
have some
out.
marketing side. So I just touch on the radio side. Petra, here, hold on, Petra.
Tag me.
Here, Petra. See my hand, here.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, artists. So these guys understand the importance. Bodine, artists, you're listening to us. Hear us clearly. You cannot send your song to a radio DJ, a radio personnel, and your song is not coded. okay, is just like you're sending it to your friend. Okay, you're wasting.
Explain what that
their
means
time.
for them.
Well, the whole, Bodie, you want to touch on that?
Oh, sure.
You're in radio, so they need to hear from a radio personnel. Yeah, go for it.
Sure. When
I can, but you know, they want to hear from a radio personnel.
I mean, Bodie,
Listen, when I get a song, right? No matter where I download that song from, like let's say you send it to me in the email or you send it to me via a link, I should be able to go in and see how many beats per second that particular song is. And that's important for DJs because you want the DJs to be able to mix that into their rotation of songs that they play. I should be able to say or to see who is the performing artist, who is the writer, who is the producer on that track. All of that is written in the metadata of the song. And guess what? Your album art should also be there because when you encode a piece of music, regardless of where you send that, whether you get that in a digital store, whether people on streaming services are able to read it, whether people want to look for it on Shazam, that information comes up and that's how you track your revenue. So when your music is not encoded, chances are, and you don't provide the information that they need, you can't get your revenue. You robbing yourself because you don't know where all your music is. Your music could be playing in South Africa and you may have a large group of people in South Africa, but they don't know. And you don't know because your music isn't encoded. And that's just the bare bones of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Go ahead.
There's a question. Oh, no, go ahead.
So, okay. So I think one thing that we have to understand is that radio is not the end all for marketing music.
No.
So that, I mean, that, oh God, radio is one element of music marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Also touching on what Bodine was talking about, you know, when you send stuff to the radios or to DJs, there's something called a DJ service pack or a service pack.
Mm-hmm.
And what the components of that is, one, your song artwork, and it has to be that. So on that song artwork, it has the name of the song, it has the artist's name, and then you can have your logos and whatever. In addition to the song artwork, you have the different versions of the song. So there's the full mastered version that's encoded. There's also the acapella. There's also the instrument of the TV track. Because what's going to happen is when radios and DJs get this, remember now, they're not just going to play the song, because they're going to do their DJ drops or their radio drops where you can introduce yourself. So, you know, there's many elements. In addition to the different versions of the song, you have the information on the song. So you can do maybe like a paragraph description on what the song is, talk about what the song, you know, whatever you want to say, but there's some description of the song. In addition to that, you also have your social media handles, website, if you know, if you have one of those, in addition to all the information on who was a part of the song. So who was your producer? Who was your songwriter? When was this written? You know, where is this copy written? All of that information. So all of that information is a part of that DJ service pack. So when you send that email or that link, you don't have to worry about anything, because all of that information is there. So when you send that to radios, when you send that to DJs, when you send that to anybody who needs the music, you have that, and you don't have to worry about, you know, flipping through your phone or your computer looking for the music. It's all right there for you. And that is a powerful piece of music marketing, especially when you have the different versions of the songs, because people will want to utilize different versions of the songs for different things, and that helps the longevity of the song. So in addition to having that DJ service pack and also getting your stuff on radio, there's campaigns that you can do on social media using hashtags or, you know, these dance challenges whatever. That is also a part of music marketing, because most things that are visual, you need to have some music in the background to help, to help brighten the mood. So that's also a part of campaigns. In addition to that, we need to be able to understand, the purpose of this. So you tell the story of the song. You need to let people in on what the song is supposed to be about, what the feeling you're supposed to invoke when you listen to this. So you need to be able to tap into the different senses when you're marketing your music. I need to be able to see the song. I need to be able to hear the song. I need to be able to taste the song. When I listen to Bodine, what that is, the Coconut Goddess song, I
The
could
sugar in the plum.
Listen, I could smell the coconut oil coming from the screen. And that, but that's what it is. So music marketing does not, and you also can do a press release to let people know, listen, my song is available. Here is where it's available, or you can do the pre-order whenever you decide to do this. You need to get in print media as well. Social media is amazing, but you need to tap into all elements of marketing to be able to do that. I see Bodine want me tiger.
Yes.
Thank you, Boo.
I just want to share this. I just want to share this before you get tagged, Bodine. I just want to tag you for 1 second before you get tagged. Someone left a comment in the comment section saying that Annabelle Cole is the local representative for PRS. And her contact is 324-1854, 324-1854. Go ahead, Bodine.
Okay, let's talk about these press releases.
Uh-oh.
I also work in the freelance journalist. Nadine
is a journalist.
Nadine is a journalist.
Journalist. Period.
No, she's a degree journalist. I just used to write for the newspaper, and they used to print it and pay me to do
it. Girl, don't owe Bodine any money.
No.
That's it.
Nadine, no. Okay, as I say, don't let me talk about money. Now, we have a number of journalists that are in the University of the Bahamas. We have a number of journalists or persons that are really good at the English language who understand the purpose of writing to inform. When you write your press release, the spirit of the song and something that people can believe in should be written in that press release. Not only that, but you should have all of the information on what motivated you to create it, what the purpose is, what it means for you or the community. And then you may have to adjust your press release based on which periodical you are sending it to. Because some periodicals are not interested in human interest stories. Some periodicals really don't have a space for the arts in a way that you would expect them to have it. Just because you're an artist doesn't mean that they're going to print it. So again, you have to study the print media that you're going to send it to. When I go to the counselors, and I know that I have to spend my money to be seen there because their audience is somebody that I want there. So I have to sell them a package before I could even pay them to be on the Bahamas at Sunrise, for example. So you have to know what you're selling. You have to know why you're selling it. And then you have to disguise all of that in a pretty little, maybe 200-word press release and provide a contact for your media personnel, or even for you, the artist. And then you have to rehearse what you want to say in relation to your project. Rehearse that. Because sometimes you say things that really
makes no sense. And this is why I'm saying
some of my colleagues need media training. Go ahead, Nadine.
That's why I'm saying it's important to have a publicist different from a manager. And even if you don't, right? Because as a journalist, like, we go to work at 10 a.m. We go and look to see press releases and what comes in. So if you are in the entertainment industry, you're not going to end up on the front page because that's for news. Okay, so we have different sections. You might end up on the front page of the entertainment section, right? So the important thing is not necessarily even what you write. Make sure you have the basic information. The most important thing is to have your number there so that if we want to change up anything, we can call you and
Contact
get the
them.
necessary information. It's key to know, though, that the more perfect the press release is, the more liable it is to get in as is, because we have a lot of writing to do. Like at the Guardian, and we had like 3 stories that we had to complete before it went to press around, say, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. You know,
Right.
so the more complete your press release is, the better chance you have of it going in. Which brings me to my next point: networking. Introduce yourselves to journalists. You know, get
Get familiar.
says, go online, know who is responsible for what, and send it to them. Know their name. You know, as artists and being in the arts community for a lot of years, journalists are not treated with respect either.
No.
You know, you will send your press releases, you will send tickets, and then you're making it seem as if the people must come to your event. You have to make sure that your journalists are comfortable when they come to your events. That way they'll want to come out to more. If you treat them like crap, they're not interested. And just know that at the Guardian you have 1 entertainment reporter, and I think at the Tribune maybe 2 or 3. So if you piss them off, you know, they might think twice about putting your stuff in. So think about those things. And also, there are those of us who are available to write your press releases. And in fact, I've been going through a lot of artists, EPKs and press releases. You can't spell. You can't construct a sentence properly. It's very problematic. This is where publicists come in, right? Get somebody from college. Get me, because I do that as well. I provide a wide range of services. So, you know, get in contact with me as well. And so those are the things that you have to look at when you're marketing your song. I wanted to also talk about music videos, because for the longest, I was putting out music videos on my Roots and Culture, the TV show. And they were crappy. I mean, they're better now. Bodine, your videos are awesome. Your music videos are full of concept. And again, like in radio, where you have to make sure that it's formatted properly, you have to make sure that your music video is formatted properly for TV. Your songs are not going to make it on the international scene if they're not formatted to international standards. So these are the things you have to consider when you're marketing your music.
Nadine.
Also,
Sorry,
can someone touch on the coding as well? Someone missed that. They missed the information on the coding, on how to code your music.
Okay, we're gonna come back to the coding. We can come back to the coding.
Okay.
Sorry, Petra, because I want to pay you a compliment, and Julian is now listening in Facebook.
Shout out to Julian.
I know if y'all know this, right? I know if y'all know this. Julian launched wine in the last 2 or 3 weeks during the pandemic. Julian went around, and Julian and Petra made sure nobody missed it. They went around and they delivered the wine to members of the media staff who are normally forgotten. And let me just say, this is something that comes from the old school generation of things. Yes, that was a marketing tactic, but at the same time, it was a physical, tangible gesture that people could appreciate, okay? So people could feel however they want to feel about you taking the opportunity now to market the product. But the truth of the matter is, the product got a market.
Yeah.
You have to know who it is for.
Exactly.
And so I've seen 1, 2, 3 media placements in particular of that gesture, because it's not just a human interest gesture.
It's networking.
It is networking.
At the end of the day.
Sometimes, even, you know what, sometimes we even forget. Nadine said it before. Oh, we send an invitation to press and we ask them to come to our event. That means that somebody, mother sick dread, I've been working since 6 o'clock this morning. If I get assigned this event, I'll be working until midnight. No. When you invite press to your event, you ain't inviting them to work. Don't invite them to work.
Or they're telling you don't eat the food. You have to stand up over there. Like, really, dude? No one wants that.
like, no, seriously. If you're going to invite the press to your event, don't invite the press to work. What you do is you invite them to experience it, because if they like it
Enjoy
enough,
it.
they are going to write about it anyway. Even if it's only a post on their page or a blurb or something, they're going to write about it. But if you're going to invite somebody to something, invite them because you want their presence there. We forget to send little tokens, handwritten notes to say thank you. I appreciate you.
Afterwards.
I was in an online class and I was reminded of the reason why marketing professionals are so good, because there's a human part of the marketing process that a lot of us overlook.
No. And it's the little things.
Yes, this my product. This my product. Here, here, I selling you this. Here, take that. P. Diddy, take that.
Right.
Come on.
And even if you're not grateful, act it. You know, if you're not a grateful-minded person, still act it, because people remember these little things. And the next thing that you can't discount is social media. The influencers. Who are the influencers? Because nowadays everybody's an influencer. You have to look at the people. That's no shade. That's the truth. Look at the amount of followers. I don't know if there's any way that you can determine whether people have bought their follows or what.
There is, trust me.
All you gotta do is scroll down.
Okay, so you look at that, look at the value you're gonna get from them, because really and truly, they're the wave. You know, and in terms of marketing in a COVID situation, the internet is key. You can really market yourself utilizing the internet.
Good. Sorry, Petra. Here.
No, what? Okay. Oh. So, there's two things that I definitely want to talk about. Is one, diversification and humanization.
Yes.
So, in reference to artistry, you always need to ensure that you diversify yourself, because that makes you unique. And when you are unique, you stand out. And when you stand out, you get noticed. And when you get noticed, things happen for you. So, and then when you talk about humanization, what we did for the media was something that we actually wanted to do, not even necessarily wanting to push the brand of wines. Because at the end of the day, healthcare workers or healthcare professionals are extremely important during COVID, but the media was or is still out there working consistently. So when you turn on your radio, when you turn on your TV, you're still hearing the news. You're getting these updates. You're looking at social media and you're seeing these things. So of course, we're marketing a product. So we say, you know what? We're going to give y'all some of these as a token of our appreciation.
Yes.
And I can tell you, persons, like Bodine would have said, marketers are important because they look at the human aspect of things, because without people or without people liking your product or your service, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
So if you're not genuine with what you do, you're not going to get anywhere either. As a brand manager and also as a marketer, I always tell my clients it's important to not only diversify, but it's important that you also recognize who your target market is and you ensure that you bring them along your journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
That they are there with you. They are there with you every step of the way. You don't necessarily have to overshare. They don't have to know, oh, okay, I'm going to McDonald's right now and I'm going to order one large fry. Like, they don't have to know that. But they can know, you know what, I'm on this fitness journey. You know, I've had this insecurity about X, Y, and Z. And, you know, they can know those things because it makes you human. Yes. And they appreciate that. Exactly. And then also, when I know Bodine had touched on this earlier, you know, client relations. It's important that you have a contract in place when you do business with persons. But when an event is over, you know what's going to help you stand out, or what's going to cause someone to bring you back. Not just having a good show, you know, but your personality and being personable.
Exactly.
Being able to say, you know what, I thank you for this opportunity. And, you know, I look forward to working with you in the future. And if you need me, I'm here for you. You let me know. You build a relationship. you have a strategic partnership and you build a bond, and you go from there. I have to commend Julian as well on doing this. He's been able to, you know, obviously along with my help at some parts, he's been able to build relationships with persons that has gotten him beyond the Bahamas. That has gotten him, you know, listen, we've been to China 3 times. We've been to China 3 times off of a relationship, off of something that we built. So networking is extremely important.
And I wanted to say something about Julian as well, because I've always admired his ability to just be ahead of the curve and just know how to hit that marketing in terms of students and going in the schools previous to this. These are going to be your fans. Children don't forget anything. So
they really don't.
You need to be able to build yourself a kind of relationship where you're going into the schools, not even just to perform, but to speak to them, and so they know who you are, because they don't know who you are, no matter how great you think you are. They do not know. So by going there and introducing yourself, you're marketing yourself to an audience that who is buying music online, who is gonna grow with you because they know you and relate to you because you're a Bahamian and they like your stuff. When I was teaching at a particular school, he came with a whole team of people and had a conversation. And every time we were gonna have something, they wanted us to invite Julian. You know, so that's a really good strategy that everybody should try to adopt.
Absolutely.
Back to you, Petra.
Okay. We have. Go ahead, Petra.
I just wanted to touch for 2 seconds on the school tour. We've done the school tour probably about 3 years. And that the whole school tour effort started when, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a lot of violence happening, and we literally said, listen, we need to give these kids something to believe in, because something is going on, something is happening, and we need to get in there. And then that it blossomed into, let's have this talk with them, because some kids really don't have, you know, people to talk to, or they're not comfortable talking to teachers and or parents. So when they see these people who they hear on the radio, or they see on billboards or whatever, you know, it turned into something that, and I can tell you, you know, I cried a couple times. I cried, you know, listening to the students and some of their visions, their dreams, and, you know, what they want. And what was important for the school tour was, it was not just about Julian and myself. It was about the persons who were a part of the tour to share their message, because everybody has a different story to tell as an artist. So what Bodine went through, Julian didn't have to, you know, and vice versa. What Wendy would go through as an artist, Tyson wouldn't have to, you know. So everybody has a story to tell, and they can touch people, and that's literally what artistry and music is, telling a story, whether you do it through your music or you do it through your marketing.
Exactly.
All right. Awesome. We have a question. Final question. What ways can local artists work together to ensure that work in the industry is monetized and artists are adequately compensated? I guess everybody can touch that. And can you guys please make your closing statements as well as you answer this question?
Sure, I'll go. So they first just have to work together. It's literally a conversation, a communication that has to happen. You just have to do it. I think there's many times where we have the conversation where we say, you know what, we're not happy with what's happening, but then there's no action. So we need to be less talk, more action. If people want to work together, it's literally, you know what, let me see how I can reach out to this artist, that artist, because I have this idea and I think this person or these people will be amazing for it. And let's just do it, you know, plan it out, do it properly, and just literally action it. And you hold people accountable to the contracts. Contracts are vitally important for the success of compensation for artistry, because if you one, you value on that value, whether it's monetarily or not, and you create your contract and you ensure that you are compensated in some way, shape, or form that you are comfortable with. Make sure both parties sign off on that, and
Yes.
you both be there.
Mm-hmm.
And just as my closing statement, I really, really want to thank you guys for inviting myself and all of my fellow panelists to be a part of this. This was definitely an enlightening conversation. And it's always good to share information, because I think someone would have put in the comments that some people just don't know. So forums like this, we get to share and spread the knowledge that everyone might not have access to. And I can tell you, I'm always available for anyone that would like to reach out in reference to branding or marketing. I'll put my information in the chat. And I'm always willing to have a conversation as well with one who needs the assistance. But I thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you for having me.
Go ahead, Nadine.
Right. So I'm saying, in terms of getting along and sharing, I see a lot of artists who are doing that now. I think Renee Caesar is good at that, in just kind of connecting people but aside from just the music industry, across the arts industry, you can, again, the whole thing about teamwork, collaborate with different people. You can reach out to them online. You can get in contact with Renee and all those people from the Artful Bahamas movement. Like Bodine says, everybody's not going to be for you. So just pick somebody who is going to be valuable to you and your team. And like Petra says, I'm very much available. I've been around for a while. I'm a journalist. I do everything. I'm a DJ, I'm a VJ, I'm an event person. I do everything. And so if you need help, I'm always available. Roots and Culture, the TV show. I've been around for years, putting platforms for people to perform on. So you can always hit me up. I'm very, very accessible on all the platforms, Roots and Culture, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And it's my hope that the dream that we had years ago for Bahamians to just excel in the music industry continues. It's continuing, but we need more collaboration. We need to be less selfish. We need to be less arrogant. And I think we'll be fine.
All right, Clive.
Okay. Yeah, pretty much I echo that. Just another thing, man, I just want to encourage up and coming artists, when don't I'm gonna be very, very, very direct with this. Don't be selfish minded. This sea is big enough for everybody. Okay. A lot of times you have artists, they choose not to want to make contact with other artists within their region because they feel like somebody want to steal their song or want to steal their contacts, want to steal their connects and all that. You can't think like that in this business because, I was watching this battle last night with 112 and Jagged Edge, and as an industry person, I work with so many other artists, and as being in Atlanta, it was root for Atlanta. And those guys, they've been around for 20 plus years, and they still talking about sharing songs with each other. You see what I'm saying? Writing songs for each other. So, once you acknowledge that you are an artist, you have to be prepared that, we're all a part of the same fraternity. And if another artist, fellow brethren of yours, need assistance or need you for anything, man, just be available and you guys can collab. And because you just never know what can come from it. This panel is great, man. I love this kind of stuff, being from the islands. Stephanie, you called me. I'm always available. I love sharing information, making new partnership or friendship or contact with great individuals like you guys. And, as however we can grow this, I'm all for it. I believe that in the Caribbean, we have amazing artists with talent, great, great talent. you know, speaking on behalf of Jamaica, my island, you know, we have great talent, you know, there. And, you know, not just on the mainstream stage, but we have some amazing, you know, talent on the gospel stage as well, where I'm a part of. And I believe that if the entire island can get the knowledge, we can rise and become glorious, man, to the world. You see what I'm saying? Because the world sees us as just a sunshine and beach and coconut and all that. But there's amazing talent. But these guys, we understand as professionals, these guys need help. They need information, and knowledge is the key.
Yeah.
That's why this panel is very informative. We got to do this again. I don't believe that we can cover everything in 2 hours. There's so much to cover. There's so many other items to touch on. And it's going to take a while, you know, because everybody have their own individual needs. But I believe if we keep this going, man, you know, I'm planning on doing something next year about the islands as well as a tour. But I believe we can change the stigma of I don't have, or what I can't get, or where can I can't get there.
Exactly.
We can change that. And young artists that's listening, you have artists like Abedina that's there locally on the island that's doing well. So you have no excuse at all.
Well,
you have no excuse, man. You just have to believe in yourself and know that you can make it through whatever you got to deal with. So thank you guys for having me. It's great to meet every one of you guys. The last call I did, I said, listen, I need some fellow patrons so we can talk and have a good time. So it's great to meet all of you. I've been to Nassau so many times for events and never had a chance to meet you guys. And I'm looking forward to the next time I touch down. We can all collectively get together and break bread and just talk and fellowship and you know, prepare what we can do for not just only Nassau, but for throughout the Caribbean.
Awesome. Victor?
Yeah, like Clive said, okay, that's my drink. Like Clive said, I echo everything that y'all have been saying. I totally agree that we have to collaborate. I think for a long time, what has stagnated us as an island, music industry here in the Bahamas, is that we collaborate, but there are many small pockets of collaborations. There are many small networks, there are cliques that we have here. And there have been forums that have come around in the recent years. Like Nadine said, Brittany Caesar and Art for Bahamas, my organization, has also been built on that premise, MOBs, just connecting people. I think we need more networking and inter-networking, you know, because there are networks that are built already and people that work together and collaborate, but we have to start getting those cliques to come together as a whole. So I think more forums like this is definitely necessary. I think I see that a lot of people are connecting in the chat, you know, so that's also good. I think we're on the right path once we just keep connecting, networking, collaborating, and so forth. But one thing I also wanted to add is that I think it's a Bahamian word. We have to be learnable, right? When we're networking and connecting, right? If you're not learnable or open to collaborating and ultimately hearing critiques of others, you know, you may collaborate with someone and they may not like what you added, you know. But if you're not open to critiques like that, there are people that are automatically just going to shy away from you. There are people who are not going to work with you, you know. So you have to have that open personability when it comes to networking as well as individuals when you connect with people.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, thank you so much for adding me to this superstar panel. So gracious to be here at the bottom square, you know.
Junior?
Hey, so I think for me, once we can get past the denominational barriers and our busy individual church schedules, we will be able to do some more collaboration. I was privileged to work on a project that had a lot of different artists come together for a choir project. And for me, it was really good to work with so many different artists on one focused project. I'm very optimistic about the future, that we only can get better from here. We have a lot of talented people. I think we are more informed than we were a couple of years ago.
Definitely.
I think so. So I have to stay positive. And with people like yourself, everybody that's here sharing this live, I'm sure a lot of people walked away learning a lot more. I certainly have learned a lot more tonight than I learned ever before. So for us in the gospel side of things, you know, once we and Victor said it, we have the little cliques, and there's so many great people that are in different denominations, different churches, excellent singers and musicians, but for some reason,
They don't know.
They don't know, but I can touch on it, but I won't touch on it. They've been either hindered not to go out and venture out because we don't want to get, you know, mix and mingle with different people. You don't want this one contaminate this one, blah, blah, blah. But for those who were brave to step out, I've had the privilege of meeting some great singers from different churches and different backgrounds. So I think it's only going to be positive from here. And with the help of God, you know, bringing us together, whether it is through COVID or however means, I think it's going to get better from here. So it's great to be considered to be in this awesome grouping with you all. So thank you all so much again.
All right, and last but not least, Bodine.
Guys, thank you so much for sending me this reminder. There's a lot that I can say, but what I will say is, to thine own self be true. Be your most authentic expression of yourself. There's no need for you to be somebody else or to emulate anybody else in the process of discovering yourself. Really and truly, people are going to get behind you, because while you may think that you are one person, there are people that share experiences similar to yours, and your creative art and the expression is your way of reaching out to those persons that relate to you. And the biggest part of being an artist is finding a group of people that relate to you. And that is the key to your branding. That's the key to your marketing. But it begins with being your authentic self. I also want to encourage everybody to go and follow me across all social media platforms. I am Bodine Victoria across all social media platforms, and bodinevictoria.com. And I want to say thank you so much to Nadine Thomas Brown, who took me into journalism, who gave me what I do believe may just be my first independent newspaper article in the Punch. I've known her so long. Her how old Malika is?
Malika is 20.
Oh, well, I've known her for 20 years because Malik was a baby.
Yes.
And I want to say thank you so much to Petra and Chameleon Management, because Petra took good feelings on her recommendation and got it played as part of a performance by the Pelicans and the Miami Heat dancers at their halftime shows, which was a very big thing for me. And that speaks to the power of networking, for Travis for being able to reach out whenever it is that he needs me, and to say stuff to Stephen that has been toiling extremely hard in the vineyard. It's big, Stephen. It's big. You don't got to worry about that. It's big. And because it's so big, no. Because it's so big. See, sometimes we have to remember the things that are so big, they take longer to get where they go, because they move in what we think or we interpret to be slow motion. But that ain't slow motion. It's moving according to its time. That's all I can say to you, Stephen. For Victor, well, Victor is a Johnson. So
Oh,
just,
Jesus.
Junior, we do have to link up. And to Clive, whom I have just met, thank you so much for being here. For everybody that is out there listening and out there watching and out there learning and being a part, this is the first step into being able to change and to become who you want to be. It's learning, okay?
Yeah.
In order to get it,
Yeah.
To quote Dr. Miles Monroe, to quote him who quoting the Bible, in all you're getting, get understanding. Okay? Continue to look for wisdom. Sorry, we can put this in order. Continue to look for knowledge. And then ask for wisdom. Okay, I finished. That's it.
Amen.
But thank you guys. Thank you
Amen.
guys so much for being a part of this panel. Guys, this is not going to be the last one. We're going to make sure that this is something that is continuous. So please spread the word. We want to make sure that this information gets out to every person that would like to share the same platform as we do. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace and love.
Just one more thing before we end. Just one more thing.
Oh, Stephen.
Say that this will be an ongoing discussion, of course. No, let me go back. Thank you all to all my fine panelists. All of you did a wonderful job in your contributions to this discussion today. Like I was saying, this is going to continue. We see a lot of persons that are on the Facebook Live are saying that they are aspiring artists, etc. And this information was timely for them. They're going to take it and run with it, and so we may see some improvement in the industry. But like I said, thank you once again. On that note, I'm going to end tonight. Continue to join us tomorrow for these master classes. Tomorrow we have some classes on makeup artistry, and then a few others continuing for the rest of the week. Thank you so much. Shout outs to Julian, Sammy Star, Wendy, Shaniqua, Shine Bahamas, all of the other artists and musicians who are joining us. Dyson is here. All of the other ones, of course. Lee Calendar was on with us. And so we would just want to thank you once again. Enjoy your night, everybody. And we'll see you again sometime in the future. Hopefully not far from this date. Enjoy, everybody.
May the grace of our Lord.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace out. Bye, Clive.
Bye.